Hi there. People in Kenya have money. If you are broke, I think you are on your own. And I'm saying so because in today's vetting of the CS nominees in the country, we saw a good number of Dr. William Ruto's nominees to different CS positions in the country declare their net worth. In essence, declare their wealth. And a good number of them declare that their wealth is actually in hundreds of millions. And even one of them declared that his net worth is actually 4 billion Kenya shillings, which is very huge amount of money if you think about it. 4 billion Kenya shilling is actually 4,000 millions, which is insane if you think about it. But that is the reality. In the country, we have a huge disparity when it comes to people having money. We have a huge number of people in the country who are poor and also a small number who are actually rich, and they are continuing to amass their wealth day in, day out. Is why I'm making this video to share with you why a good number of CS in the cabinet of Dr. William Ruto are actually super rich. And of course, we're going to know what is the common theme among all of them, and also what you and I can also learn from them in order for us to be able to build our wealth. Having said that, you are all much welcomed to the Money Daily YouTube channel. My name is Afagza. By the way, if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to this channel for you to be catching up on awesome updates with regards to how to make money, how to build wealth. In today's vetting, there are 4 people who stood out. Of course, the vetting was happening in Parliament, and 4 CS nominees stood out very well. And of course, you're going to see as to why they stood out, and also you're going to see what the common theme across all of them was. The very first one was the nominee for the Prime Cabinet Secretary position, Musalia Mudavadi, who actually declared that his net worth is 4 billion Kenya shillings, which is an insane amount of money. Someone having a net worth of over 4,000 millions is kind of insane. And I know you might be wondering, what the heck is net worth in the first place? Net worth is essentially someone's wealth in aggregate. We're talking about all the assets they have, subtract all the obligations or liabilities they have. That which remains is their net worth. In essence, the actual value of all their ownership in this world. And for Mudavadi, him saying he has a net worth of 4 billion Kenya shillings is a huge amount of money. And actually this was trending on social media because a huge number of Kenyans out there were kind of making fun of it, just comparing the amount of money they have vis-a-vis what Musalia Mudavadi has. And Mudavadi said that his net worth is actually in holdings in different stocks of companies out there, and also his investment in properties. The second person who stood out was the CS for Defense nominee, Aden Duale, who declared that his net worth is 851 million Kenya shillings. And for him, he said that actually his net worth is in holdings in properties and also in thousands of animals. We're talking about him having thousands of camels, thousands of goats, and even sheep. All these bring his net worth to about 851 million Kenya shillings. And then the third person who stood out in this was Dr. Alfred Mutua, the CS nominee for Foreign Affairs. And Mutua stated that he has a net worth of 420 million Kenya shillings, which by the way is also a good amount of money if you think about it. And for him, he said that his net worth is actually in hotels, in different apartments out there which he owns, and also many businesses which he owns out there. All these bringing his net worth to about 420 million Kenya shillings. And then another person who also stood out was Justin Muturi, the nominee for the Attorney General position in the country, who said he has a net worth of 700 million Kenya shillings. And by the way, from Muturi, a couple of Kenyans out there were questioning or kinda in a puzzle because just a year ago, he said he has about 300 million Kenya shillings. And just 1 year, his net worth is doubled to 700 million Kenya shillings, which left a couple of people out there asking themselves a couple of questions. All in all, if you have realized, is that all these nominees, there is a common twin or among them. And this thing is that all of them have a good portion of their net worth in properties, right? And also a good number of them have their net worth in businesses. These tell us something, is that for you to be able to build wealth in a very sustainable way, we all need to invest in assets. Assets are what gonna make us be able to build wealth and even skyrocket our richness. If not, in case someone else is living, for example, paycheck to paycheck, they won't be able to build wealth in any form. But if they purposely start investing in assets, they're gonna be able to make good amount of money, become rich, and even build wealth over time. And I'm saying so because from the face of it, you might think all these nominees might have made money, for example, through corruption dealings, which, by the way, it could be the possibility. A number of them may be having maybe strings of corruptions in their money, but also a good number of them made their money legitimately. And I'm saying so because if you take a look at them, we're talking about an average public service of about 30 years, through which they've been able to do businesses legitimately, they've been able to get good salaries and so forth. So over time, in case someone is wise, they might have been able to invest in different assets, which have actually multiplied over years for them to be able to have a good net worth. And just to give you an example, in case someone have, for example, money and then they put it in real estate, we're talking about properties, they're going to be able to be making rental income each and every regular interval of time, whether it is monthly, annually, and so forth. And this rental income is going to be plowed back into the same kind of assets for them to be able to continue building their real estate or property empire. In case, for example, someone delves in business, whichever kind of business out there, whether someone is in, for example, import business, whether someone's, for example, doing retail, whether someone's, for example, doing manufacturing or so forth, them being in business is going to mean they're going to be able to make profits once they break even. And it isn't just profits that they're going to be able to skyrocket their money and be able to delve into different fields out there with regards to investing in assets, in the process, skyrocket their net worth. Right? And other area, which a good number of people out there don't understand, and actually I made a video on this area. You can just check this video up here with regards to how to invest in the stock market in Kenya. I made a video on that. Also, you could look to jump into the stock market. In essence, you obtaining ownership of a given company out there. Not just one company, you could have ownership of multiple companies out there. An example is what Musalia Mudavadi said today. He has ownership of multiple companies out there. In essence, holding stocks of these companies. In case someone holds stocks of these companies, we're talking about equities, right? And also we have another option of long-term debts. We're talking about bonds, right? In case someone has, for example, stocks and bonds, at the end of each and every year, you're going to be able to get dividends. And these dividends, you might decide whether to cash them out or even plow them back into the same businesses. And in essence, you're going to be able to skyrocket your net worth. So I think these are some of the common things we can learn from these coming secretary nominees, and hopefully you and I also implement them in our own lives, in our own quest to obtain financial freedom, and in the process, be able to build our own empires in the different proportions out here.